Hi, Deborah Vogler here, reporting from the Confab 2011 in Las Vegas. My guest is Ivo Bolsens of Xilinx. Thank you so much for being my guest.
You're welcome. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
All right. Well, now, in this morning's presentation, you spoke about entering the era of crossover SoCs. Could you please elaborate for our viewers?
Sure. Yeah, I was trying to make a comparison between what's happening in the car industry, where you have a crossover car, which is a combination of the power and the performance of sports cars and the convenience of a station wagon, bring that together in a very successful concept, which is the crossover car. In a similar way, you have in the semiconductor industry, you have at the one hand, you have the ASICs that are definitely very performant, very low power, have a lot of capabilities. And then on the other hand, you have the FPGAs that are flexible and programmable, that are easy to use and have a short time to market and have less NRE than the ASICs. A crossover system on chip is a platform which first of all is a programmable platform that combines to a certain extent the benefits of both worlds. It has the capabilities and the efficiency of an ASIC, but it combines that with the flexibility and the programmability of an FPGA.
Now, you also discussed new semiconductor roles and compared ASICs to crossover SoCs. You had a nice little comparison chart there. Could you summarize the highlights?
Well, if you look at an ASIC, an ASIC has typically, when you're a system company, has a large non-recurrent engineering cost. The cost for designing an ASIC is high and is getting higher as we are, moving into the next technology nodes. You typically need in the 28 nanometer node, in order to build a 28 nanometer chip, you need almost $100 million of investment, which implies that you need a revenue promise of at least $600 million. On the other hand, you have the FPGA, which is programmable, soft programmable, which is using more silicon, so from a component cost perspective is more expensive, but from an NRE perspective and the time to market is faster. So the ASIC and the FPGA are at the two ends of the spectrum, and the crossover system on chip is trying to bridge that gap between these two worlds of the ASIC and the FPGA.
Now, you also issued a 3D call to action. This is not the first conference I've been at where people are basically complaining that there's a lack of standards for 3D. How is this problem going to get resolved? What is it going to take?
Well, I think we have just recently brought to the market our first product in 28 nanometer, which is relying on 3D stacking technology. And whereas definitely there were ample challenges from a technology perspective, one of the biggest challenges was to line up the supply chain, understand all the practicalities of the business processes and the handovers of responsibilities in that supply chain. Now that was for one single product by one single company, Xilinx. I believe if we want 3D to become a technology that is being pervasive in our industry, and it should be, I think there has to be a lot more effort being put in agreements on roadmaps, in agreements on standards, so that all the players in that ecosystem of that enable 3D integration have a good understanding where the investment should go and where the responsibilities are in this whole supply chain. And I believe that standardizations are key in there, and the normal organizations like Sematech, SEMI, IMEC and such, can play a role in there. And also on the design side, on the EDA side, there should be effort being done there in guaranteeing a better design enablement for the 3D system in package.
Now, you also expressed concern about the ownership of the SIP roadmap.
Yes.
How is that going to get resolved?
Well, I think the SIP roadmap is very important. Today, when you look at the discussions around 3D system in package technology, you will see that there is a lot of opinions and a lot of directions that this technology can evolve. So it's necessary that we can prune that a little bit so that companies understand better, where to invest. I think the ITRS committee definitely has already played a valuable role in creating that the first version of the roadmap, but I believe more effort has to be spent in making it more focused so that enough critical mass can be put behind that roadmap from an investment point of view in the industry, and that includes the equipment suppliers, and that includes the packaging houses, the foundries, and the design and EDA companies. Yeah.
Now, this was a rather exciting, interesting morning session. I thought, was there any particular statements or some of the Q&A topics that struck your interest?
Well, there were a few things. I think one of what you saw throughout the whole morning session was that everybody agreed that there is a lot of change coming towards us. Change in the market dynamics, change in the investment profiles, change in the business processes. I think, as I said in my presentation, the companies that will be able to be successful will be the ones that are best able to deal with that change and accommodate the change. It's not the biggest companies, it's not the smartest companies, it's the ones that are best accommodated to deal with the change. And that was the theme, I think, that was throughout all the presentations that came back, in my opinion.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being my guest.
Thank you. It was a pleasure being here.
All right.